A huge moo to the herd and welcome to episode 8 of our Omnifactory playthrough. So between episodes I did a bit of tidying. You'll notice the machines are all gone, the floor is repaired, and we have a new factory. And we have installed our CF and our 16X low voltage battery buffer, which has a load of batteries in it. And we now have this new 16X cable, which as you can see is considerably larger than the 4X cable. So I've got all my machines up. One additional machine I've added is the autoclave. I needed that so we could make the vacuum chest, which is just hidden behind our new sugarcane farm, which has been expanded. As you can see, it's now got 3 sugarcane lines. I've also installed a void upgrade into the drawers, just so that we didn't run out of space. As you can see, we're getting very close to the stack limit. So one of the things I've been doing with our electrolyzer is been basically taking the clay dust and turning it into aluminium, lithium and sodium, because we're going to need an awful lot of aluminium for the MV tier, and the silicon is very good for electrical steel, which is great for Ender-IO stuff, etc. However, the process at the moment to make the clay dust has been one of have a cobblestone generator here, generate cobble, put it into the macerator, hence the reason for these chests sitting on there. Macerator turns it into gravel. The gravel then gets fed back in, turned into sand. The sand then gets turned into dust. And finally we come over to the chemical reactor, which eventually fills up with water. The dust gets mixed with the water, turned into clay, which then gets put back in the macerator and turned into clay dust, which finally gets filled into the electrolyzer. That's a very long process, and to be honest, it's very manual, and it's not sustainable considering that we're potentially going to need an awful lot of aluminium, especially. So with that in mind, I've crafted a few things. We've got some 16X conductive iron cable, we have a CEF 16X, an electrolyzer, some macerators, a chemical reactor, and a load of conduits, because I'm going to set up my first production line. Yeah, we'll call it that. The idea with this is that I can have this running, just continuously outputting into a crate of some kind. So I don't have to think about it, and then we can use that aluminium and silicon dust and everything else. So without further ado, let's get this all put together. So I'm going to need 6 machines plus the cobblestone generator, so that's 7. So I need to make slots for 7. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We'll drop our 16X cable down. And then the process should be cobble gen will be here. So we need macerator to turn the cobblestone into, actually I'm going to have them facing this way. Right, macerator to turn cobblestone into gravel. Now I just want to wrench the output that way. And then macerator to turn gravel into sand. Again, wrench the output there. And then macerator to turn sand into dust. Perfect. Then wrench output. Then we want our chemical reactor to turn the dust into clay. Output this way. Macerator to turn the clay dust into, the clay into clay dust. And finally, an electrolyzer to turn all that lovely clay dust into the various components. So that's perfect. I've got my put the teeth back in, CEF in place. Now we need to do is just connect it up. So So I've also started working on a bit of a sub-basement area, as you can see, where our cables are. Now, one thing I'm trying to decide is whether to put a ceiling in to hide all these wires. Haven't made my mind up yet, but whilst we're wiring everything up, we'll leave it as is. So let's just hang here for a bit. We'll grab our conductive iron cables, and that needs to go to here. And just fire down here this way a bit. What we'll do is let's hang up here. Gotta love these hooks. I'm gonna go. Where's that cable? Right, so that's that all powered up. The other thing I want to do is provide water. The infinite water source, it's no good for providing the necessary water for the chemical reactor. So I'm just going to take a line off of here. And what we want, I'll just pull myself down here a bit, is probably to come along here. The chemical reactor should be, let's just go that one, that one, that one, that one. So that should be the water lines all done. So let's see, cobble gen, macerator, macerator, macerator. Try again, cobble gen, macerator, 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 water. Right. So the other thing to do is to connect that line up here. See if I can see it. Or am I missing a pipe? I don't think so. Let's just check. Water, that's that one. Yeah, so wobbling. Just at the end of that. Done. So that's our water all connected up. So if I've done this right, that's a chemical reactor, I should find just under here. Perfect. We have that, and we just connect that into, oops, I'm standing too close. There, I use a wrench to connect that in. And change this to insert. So now, I've got lots of water flowing in from my end of wire, which is coping pretty well. We've got power, so the only thing I need now is to take my cobble gen, pop that here, and outputs straight into the macerator. So enable the output on that one, and enable the output on that one, and that one, and that one, finally this one, and then all I need from my chest is a crate. Drop that here. Oh, I just realised I didn't wrench the output, so there we go. Chest, enable output, no fluids, and there we go. I now have a pretty endless supply of clay dust, all automated, all sticking out here. So what we'll do is we'll take all of this and drop it in here, so we know where it is. we go. That should provide me plenty of materials for the MV tier. So where does that leave us quest-wise? Oh, we've got our battery buffer, so we can claim that one. We have done our electrolyzer, and we've got all the various dusts. So phosphor and sulfur, these two dusts will be used in a variety of upcoming chemical reactions. Phosphor can be obtained by processing phosphor ore into dust and electrolyzing several times. The ore is found in apatite veins. Sulfur can be electrolyzed easily from sphalerite, which also provides gallium, cinnabar and pyrite. Alternatively, sulfur can be acquired through deep mob learning. Look into that quest line if you haven't already. We are going to get onto deep mob learning, but not quite yet. The other one we've got is copper, nickel, cupronickel. Nickel comes from several different ores, including pentlandite and garnierite, but they're all found in the same vein. Nickel is used mostly for several very important alloys, including invar and cupronickel. So I think that's probably what we'll focus on now. I think the first thing I want to do is get some nickel, so we can do some work on that. So nickel ore is just 2 coins, like so. I do still need to move storage, but I'm holding off on that at the moment till I make a decision as to what I'm going to do with the storage. So let's just smelt up all my nickel. Actually, I want to keep one of those, and I shall pop it up on my wall of ore. And between episodes I will go and see if I can find some nickel veins. Right, so whilst that's doing that, what else have we got? Electrical steel, an Nd-IO alloy made from silicon dust and a steel ingot. This material is frequently used in electronics and digital equipment, so let's make an electrical steel ingot. I think I have enough silicon, just. And I've got steel made from earlier. Where's all my steel? There it is. So we'll just stick that in the alloy furnace. Alloy smelter. And we'll get that one done, because that then unlocks our capacitor bank, which might be useful, especially if we go into deep mod learning, having a battery backup. So our goal is to get a blast furnace. So between this and the next episode, I want to get as much done to get a blast furnace installed, and we'll be using the area downstairs to accommodate those blast furnaces, because we'll probably need a lot more than one. So that's one of the reasons I've deliberately left this big area, so we can fit multiple blast furnace in. I've got to figure out the wiring. I might drop it down a wall or something and then come along the floor, but we shall work on that a bit later. Right, so our electrical steel is done. We'll grab that, claim our reward. Ore processing for byproducts. When you first started the pack, we told you that ore doubling can wait, and that's true. But you will need to start doing some rudimentary ore processing for byproducts. Byproducts are additional materials that can only be obtained from processing ores in certain machines. For example, there is no gallium ore. You get gallium as a byproduct from processing other ores. Ores have various means of processing, and eventually you'll use machine pipelines to process ores in specific ways to optimize what byproducts you gain. You can walk through JEI to figure out the path you want for each ore. Always look for machine sources of small and tiny piles too. The relevant machines are as follows. Macerator turns ores into crushed ores into impure dusts, and purified crushed ores into purer dusts. Higher tiers of macerators have byproduct slots and gain a chance to get a full pile of byproduct from ores and both types of crushed ores. Washer Cleans crushed ores with water, making purified crushed ores and a guaranteed 3 tiny piles of byproduct. Using distilled water makes them go faster. This is an improved alternative to dropping dust in a cauldron. Chemical bath, similar to a washer but uses chemicals to purify the crushed ores. Has a chance to give a full pile of byproducts, often different than what the washer would give. Interesting to know. Centrifuge. Separates pure or impure dust into the final material, producing a guaranteed 3 tiny piles of byproduct. Electrolyzer. Uses power to split compounds into individual elements, sometimes gaining useful byproducts in the process. We've seen the electrolyzer working on clay dust. The thermal centrifuge, not to be confused with a regular centrifuge, can be used for alternative ore processing, but is dreadfully slow and power hungry. No LV form exists, and its primary use is for nuclear craft fission fuels. Your first forays into ore processing for byproducts will be electrolyzer and the centrifuge. Cool. So that's that one done. So gallium, throwing impure piles of sphalerite into cauldrons is the first way of obtaining sphalerite, which can be electrolyzed as a good source of gallium. The zinc and sulfur you get from doing this will be quite useful as well. Sphalerite ore spawns in zinc veins. Centrifuge instead of a cauldron is slower and requires power, but gets you more gallium while separating the impure dust into sphalerite. If you're having trouble getting the quest to complete, check to see if you're holding small piles instead of tiny piles. If so, combine 4 small piles into a regular dust, then split that into tiny piles. A work table can help you quickly convert between the two. Okay, so a centrifuge. Do I have a centrifuge? Got a feeling the answer to that is no. And that is correct. So rather than throwing stuff into a cauldron, I think I'm going to make a centrifuge. So add that in, grab my calculator, put that coin away, go away, yep. And I want 1 basic centrifuge. So I'm going to need lots of stuff. I'm going to need 4, what do I do with all my chips? They're right in front of me, aren't they? Yep. 4 of those, and 2 motors. So I'm going to have to restock on stuff. And what else do I need? Are we out of machine casings? It looks like we are, so we're going to need some machine casings as well. So we're doing 11 raw iron plates, which I already have. 4 rubber plates, I need to make some of those up. 2 tin for the tin wire, unless I've got tin wire. Do I have tin wire? I have 1 tin wire. Do I need? No, I need 4 tin wire. Okay, so let's just make some fresh stuff up. And a wrench, which I think I've put a... No, I've got it on me. I was wrenching machines earlier. There it is. Okay, cool. So first things first, compressor. Make our rubber sheets and our tin wire. And the great thing with this power setup is I don't have to worry about things going slow, and I can run 16 machines all at the same time, which is great. Simplifies life considerably. Right, 1 LV machine casing, which is this plus that. And then I think it's this plus, I need to make my rubber up first. Oops, wrong button. Actually, I'm never going to remember. There we are. And then what do I need? To just click that and that. We have our centrifuge all charged up. And now some sphalerite. I'm pretty sure I have some of that because I found a zinc vein earlier. Oh great, so let's just take 23 of that. What does it say we need to do? So impure piles of sphalerite. To get impure piles, we need to crush it and then crush it. Alright, so I'm just throw all of our sphalerite into my macerator, let that finish. Meanwhile, we'll check to see how progress is going on our aluminium lines. That's going very nicely. Obviously the electrolyzer is incredibly slow, so this is not something where you're going to get all your aluminium in a few seconds. Meanwhile, how's my nickel? Perfect. So one nickel ingot, and Invar is nickel dust and iron, or iron dust and nickel. And unfortunately our macerator is busy. What I can do is drop, say, half of that in there for the time being. Drop the rest through. Should give me that pretty quickly. Right, do I have iron on me? No. Let's grab some iron. Right, one Invar and one copper nickel. So if it's that, I also probably need some copper. And let's quickly do this. Nickel dust, iron, and an alloy smelter. Am I missing something? Oh, it's 2 iron. That'll be what I'm missing. So that's the first one. And copper nickel is 1 on 1. So I now have 3 Invar ingots, 2 copper nickel. Another one, which means we can start working on the blast furnace, and that's a lot of components we're going to need. Meanwhile, how is our crushed sphalerite? If I put it through, then again I get impure, so let's grab that, drop it in, ready to go. I'm going to take this out and let the stuff we've already got processing go through, so we can get this one at least finished and get our gallium. Right, hopefully this shouldn't take too long. So that's our first pile of that. And do I need a stack of it in the centrifuge? No. Let's go back, because I probably... Yes, I need sphalerite dust. I've got one of those, and a tiny pile of gallium, so I need one more. It may not be as fast as throwing it into a cauldron, but at least I can automate all of this. Done. Now what does that unlock for us? Oh, it unlocks the first tier 2 circuits. The first tier 2 circuits will require 4 tier 1 circuits plus a diode made with gallium to craft. These are rather expensive. Always be on the lookout for a cheaper way to make your circuits. New sets of recipes become available each time you make a new tier of assembling machine. What do I need for this? Primitive circuit. I need wrought iron plates, we've got those. We've got the primitive circuits, we've got some red alloy cable, and right, let's add that into our list. We can quickly do this one. We know that that is that. That is that. Right, so let's go grab my circuits. Do 4 of these. Wrought iron, so I need 2 wrought iron plates. Some rubber. redstone and sand. Does I have any red alloy bricks? Oh, ingots, I do. How many red alloy ingots do I need? 1. Right, so let's put the redstone. Shouldn't be there. Should be in this one. Take one of these. So just 6 sand. I should have plenty of sand over at the macerator. Turn that into glass. Apparently I still need 1 tin ingot. Let's go in the wire mill, I guess. Yep, to turn into... Actually, I don't need that tin ingot because I've got that single tin wire, which will be enough to make it into 4 fine tin wire. Thing. Glass can be turned into glass panes. Get these coins put away, and I definitely need to move my storage because walking backwards and forwards is not enjoyable. Right, 2 rubber sheets. Should have our fine tin wire, we do. 2 red alloy wire. Done. Turn that into red alloy cables. Make our diode. Gives me 4 of them. And then make our primitive processor. Relatively simple. So there's another quest unlocked. So cool, and we've done the progress for MV circuits. Pop that away. Alright, so we're in a really good place. All we really need to do is start working on our blast furnaces. So I think next episode that will be our prime focus. In between episodes I'll make up the necessary components to get the blast furnace put together, and then we'll start installing our first blast furnace, and then hopefully we'll start processing aluminium and make our way into the MV tier, where we can start looking at things like ore processing, etc., and hopefully a lot of fun with fluids, said no one ever. So until then, if you like this episode, feel free to give it a like. If you'd like to see more of these episodes, please feel free to subscribe. And until the next episode, I wish you a very pleasant day. Goodbye.